Hey there folks, welcome to Spectrum Pulse. We talk about music, movies, art and culture, and this is Billboard Breakdown. So now we've just settled into the doldrums of summer, the time of year where everything just seems to slow down and nothing all that interesting really happens on the Hot 100. The top 10 was mostly static except for the very bottom, not that many movers and shakers, and even our list of returning and new arrivals seems smaller than ever. Well, of course, I'm not exactly complaining, so let's not waste any more time and get to our top 10. Cheerleader by Omi holds onto the number one spot thanks to leading in sales, solid radio gains, strong streaming, and even a bit of YouTube, but I doubt it'll hold on for long because Can't Feel My Face by The Weeknd is right behind it, rising up to number 2. And really, it's playing the margins at this point because it's gaining airplay at a faster rate, leads in streaming, and is perilously close on sales. No YouTube for that final boost to the top, but I reckon it's only a matter of time before it comes through here and takes that top spot. And really, the fight down to the wire up there tends to make the next slew of songs not exactly all that interesting. We've seen it before. See You Again by Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth slips down to number 3 as airplay's pretty much in free fall, sales are weakening, and it's slipped in streaming, mostly being propped up by YouTube at this point. And Bad Blood by Taylor Swift and Kendrick Lamar isn't that far behind it, slipping in YouTube, starting to bleed in airplay, and sales starting to slide back too. It's only at number 4 because while Watch Me by Silento did gain airplay and sales and even a bit of YouTube, it did slip in streaming, which might be indicative that it could be in for a fall sooner rather than later. People might be getting tired of it. Then there's Trap Queen by Fetty Wap at number 6, basically held up on sales and slipping in streaming at this point, and it's only above Shut Up and Dance by Walk the Moon at number 7 because that song never had enough streaming or YouTube to buoy up its weakening airplay and sales right now. And the funny thing is, even though that Fight song by Rachel Platten is gaining at number 8, it suffered a similar problem right now, with not exceptional streaming and slowing airplay gains to match its strong sales. I predict an early peak with this song, then crashing pretty hard. Now, this takes us to our 2 new top 10 entries, starting with Lean On by Major Lazer, DJ Snake, and Mia. In other words, known as my least favorite current DJ Snake song. I'm not even saying it's bad, it's just kind of mediocre with one of the most grating synth lines supporting Mia's not exactly interesting vocals or lyrics. That's before we get to the Chipmunk interlude. But it was enough to send the song to number 9 in the back of okay sales, small airplay gains, and absolutely huge YouTube and streaming. And then we have The Weeknd's second top 10 entry at number 10, The Hills, breaking in thanks to sales and streaming and little else, and I really wish I liked this song more than I do. Sure, it's creepy with the warped guitars and rough edges and all that screaming, but the lyrics aren't nearly interesting enough to build off of that sort of menace. The Weeknd has nowhere near the intensity to pull this song off, and that chorus just feels so limp every time I really try to get into the crescendo. There's just not enough going on there. At least Miguel makes his desaturated, rough-edged R&B fun. This just isn't. And on the topic of artists who might definitely deserve better, let's talk about our losers and dropouts, where country music had a particularly bad week across the board. Diamond Rings and Old Bar Stools by Tim McGraw and Catherine Dunn unfortunately exits the chart early, and then Smoke by 1,000 Horses leaves as well after a respectable chart run. Although the big news is that GDFR by Flo Rida, Sage with Gemini, and Lucas also bows out after a respectable run that in no way merits that song's mediocrity. And the losers also follow suit, with The Night Is Still Young by Nicki Minaj underperforming with a slip to 54, Let Me Like You Mean It by Kelsey Ballerini continuing to fall to 72, and Little Toy Guns by Carrie Underwood taking another rough hit to 86. Also thought that Carrie Underwood would have lasted a little bit longer because that song's pretty good, but it happens. Our gains, however, are a little less explainable. Well, okay, at least some of them are. Like I'm Gonna Lose You by Meghan Trainor featuring John Legend gets an unsurprising boost to 70, and Break Up With Him by Old Dominion jumps up to 89 off of their respective debuts, the former of which I kind of expected, and the latter which makes me want to set things on fire. But the other 2 gains a little bit weirder to me. I don't exactly mind that Young and Crazy by Frankie Ballard went up to 64. Fine enough song, I do like it, but the sudden radio boost is a bit surprising given the song dropped months ago. I'm guessing that country radio programmers looking to fill up some space, but that doesn't explain El Perdón by Nicky Jam and Enrique Iglesias jumping up to 76, 17 weeks into their chart run. Okay, yeah, sure, it got a YouTube boost, but the big news is that the release of the English version meant it got a slew of additional sales. You think that they would have done that earlier in the chart run to build a little bit of momentum on the radio, but wishful thinking there. Now this takes us to our 2 returning entries, starting with
Get the pretty girls that's pretty at everything. $1 million cribs, having $1 million dreams. And when you get it all, just remember one thing. Remember one thing. That one man could change the world. That one man could change the world.
I'm surprised surprised to see this back as the video was released about a month ago, but it was one of the songs from Dark Sky Paradise that I actually did kind of really like. An album title that I still contend is absolutely laughable. Seriously, Dark Sky Paradise. But the thing is, this song's mostly held up, with the exception of that gratuitous autotune on Kanye and Big Sean's hook. Just give it to John Legend, let him handle it on his own. Neither of you two need to be there. But to his credit, Big Sean's bars are actually pretty solid, as he reflects upon some of the hollowness of his hype through a conversation he had with Jim Carrey, implying that they both had some masks that they were holding up, and how he could never face the same conditions that his grandmother did, who fought in World War II and became captain, and then came back to help raise him. It's a sort of tribute that does kind of have an element of corniness, especially that Kim line in the first verse. Ugh, no. But it does feel more authentic to Big Sean's feelings, and the stripped back pianos and the production does help. Overall, yeah, it's a really solid song. Definitely like this.
Baby, won't you come my way? Got something I want to say. Can I keep you on my way? But first off, I'ma start by saying this. All headshots, if you think you can take my bitch. And I'm too turned when I shoot, swear I won't miss.
Hey look, a song I actually said that I liked a couple weeks ago returned to the charts after only a week of absence. If only this could have happened for songs like Coffee or King Kunta or Bills, which are just outright awesome instead of just being pretty good. And for the most part, I do like My Way. The sandy beat, Fetty Wap's warbling, trying to win over this girl without stealing her from another dude, and even Drake decided to contribute a verse to the remix, and it's actually pretty good, showing another side of him with a new girl getting over his ex and driving her home. Hell, even Drake does this sing rap thing that Fetty Wap does. He does it surprisingly well. Still a little bit annoying, it's not exactly pleasant singing, and Drake can do better, but if Fetty Wap was looking for a good follow-up coming off of Trap Queen, this should be it. Pretty damn good song. Okay, that was actually a pretty solid way to start the week, so on to our new arrival, starting with number 94, Burning House by Cam.
Can make it right. I've been sleepwalking too close to the fire, but it's the only place that I can hold you tight in this burning house.
You ever encounter those songs you really want to love a lot more than you do? Yeah, this is one of those cases, a brittle acoustic ballad with hints of piano about a dying relationship. And really, there's a lot to like about it. Cam's a good singer, the delicate instrumentation does have a certain frail elegance to it that I like, especially if you pay attention to some of the accent moments in the background of the mix. But that chorus, okay, if the fire is representative of the troubles breaking this relationship, and that's the only place where Cam can feel anything close to her partner, why the constant usage of the sleepwalking metaphor? Putting aside the fact that sleepwalking around fire is a recipe for disaster, it implies that her unconscious mind is the only thing pressing for this relationship, while rationally she's trying to keep her distance. Okay, honestly, that mostly does work, but I can't help but feel that we're walking through the ashes of this house instead of the fire, and it just means that's not as compelling as I'd like it to be. Decent enough song, but I'm not sure that it's great. Just saying. Number 92, Fly by Maddie Tae.
Don't you be scared now, 'cause you can learn to fly on the way down.
So the common buzz in the country music scene is that bro country, at least in terms of the checklist-driven, meat-headed subgenre that was popular over the past couple years, has mostly receded a fair bit and allowed a little bit more diversity on the charts. And while I'm definitely not complaining about that, it has meant that the anti-bro country camp that had made their initial splash fighting openly against that trend need to define their artistic progression quickly or be left irrelevant. Now this includes new country duo Maddie Tae, who dropped Girl in the Country song last year, a song that was so fascinating it inspired a special comment on this very show, along with Ray Lynn. Wonder where she's been. So I was keen to hear their follow-up single, and yeah, it's pretty good. The instrumentation is mostly agreeable, although that choppy banjo rollick is a little bit distracting, takes away from an otherwise solid neo-traditional sound, especially with that fiddle and the steel guitar elements. And the lyrics play well enough and you have to fall hard before you get up, analogous to what Casey Musgraves did with Silver Linings 2 years ago. I guess where I cool a little bit on this song is the melodic construction in the sound. It's just a little bit tepid for me in the mood, lacking distinctive texture or differentiations in the composition, and the lack of more interesting harmonies between Maddie and Tae is a little bit disappointing. Just comes across a little bit generic to me in the melodies. Again, not a bad song, but coming off of Girl in the Country song, I'm just a little bit underwhelmed. Number 90, Should Have Been Us by Tori Kelly.
But
So I've gotten a fair number of questions on why I didn't cover Unbreakable Smile by Tori Kelly a couple weeks back. And while I did mostly like the breezy and generally enjoyable lead-off single Nobody Loved, it was the sort of song that didn't really grip me as much as I wanted it to, so I wasn't exactly surprised it dropped off the Hot 100 like a rock. I mean, I covered Hilary Duff and Carly Rae Jepsen, so why didn't I give Tori Kelly a chance? And after listening to this song, I'm starting to see why I got so many of those requested, because this is actually pretty good. Tori Kelly still gives me the impression that with this song that she might need a little bit more seasoning before she's really ready for prime time. Her cooing is solid, but doesn't really come with the same ease. With the scratchy percussion and dusty swirl, the synth is generally enjoyable, even if there is barely a melody driving this track outside of a reverb-drained synth at the very back. And the lyrics reflecting on a lost relationship that Tori Kelly misses are generally fine, even if they do feel like they're a little underwritten to rise above. Definitely a solid song, but I'm not sure how long it'll really stick with me, so I guess I'll just enjoy it while I have it. It's good, I'll recommend it. And finally, number 80, Kings Never Die by Eminem featuring Gwen Stefani. I want to know who in the offices at Shady Records told Eminem that recycling the themes and instrumentation from Recovery was a good idea. Because while I still mostly liked that album, with every single that Eminem has released over the past few months, it falls in the same holding pattern. And while in some tracks he seems to be aware of his own writer's block, at this point it seems like Eminem is content to hop on a vaguely rap rock inspired beat, get a female singer for the hook, and tear into anybody in his path to shreds. Except at this point he's got no more enemies to conquer, and no matter how much he's trying to cast himself as an underdog, he's one of the best-selling rap artists of all time. It's just unbelievable. As such, there's no drama to this song. But without any more innovative wordplay, there isn't that many good lines. It just feels like Eminem is spinning his wheels, trying desperately to find something new to rap about. Now, to be fair, Kings Never Die is better than the sludgy, borderline incompetent Phenomenal, but it's still nothing special. Putting Gwen Stefani on hook duty is a sad reminder of how far she's fallen. The rock sample still feels too heavy, especially considering more monochromatic synths are just piled on top, and Eminem trying to sing through the end of the second verse is just ridiculous. Doesn't sound good. That's where the actual content. Okay, I know you're pissed at critics who keep marking you down, and probably unfairly, but I get the feeling you're missing the message as why. We're exasperated because you keep repeating yourself, and it's maddening how one of the best technical rappers with great flows can't bring anything beyond punchlines and increasingly tired and bland rock samples to his production. At this point, you have nothing to lose by getting more experimental, or collaborating with more underground artists who could use your star power to get to the top, or by going a little bit more political. We could use that coming into an election year, or maybe trying for a concept album. But making these pseudo-inspirational pap for soundtracks? Dude, you should have acted in Southpaw instead of writing a song for Bit, because this is not interesting at all. So yeah, easy choice for the worst of the week with Kings Never Die by Eminem and Gwen Stefani, but honestly, I don't really have a dishonorable mention. So again, I'm gonna go with 2 honorable mentions and a best of the week, the latter of which, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Big Sean, Kanye West, and John Legend for One Man Can Change the World. The honorable mentions to My Way by Fetty Wap, with a remix featuring Drake especially, and Should Have Been Us by Tori Kelly. Not a lot more to really say, but the absence of outright crap, that's a good sign. So let's hope for more like this, but until then, I'm Mark, you're watching Billboard Breakdown on Spectrum Pulse, and I'll see you next time.